Hello dear friends, thank you for joining me on this journey today. If you are looking for a story that is both thrilling, warm and full of natural colors, then you have come to the right place. On a beautiful sunny morning, Bar decided to venture alone into the dense forest in the mountains to search for pure wild honey. That seemingly simple trip unexpectedly turned into an exciting journey full of challenges and surprises. With courage and sharp eyes, Bar found a giant honeybee nest, the largest he had ever seen. The beehive was suspended on the top of a towering tree, covered by a layer of golden beeswax and especially swollen like a majestic natural armor. The thick layer of black bees protecting the nest made anyone who looked at it shiver. But for Mr. Bar, that only increased his determination. He quickly collected dry coconut leaves, piled them under the tree, then lit a fire to create smoke to drive away the bees without harming them. Under the thick smoke, Mr. Bar held a bundle of burnt leaves and a long bamboo stick, slowly climbing the tree. The tree was so tall that just looking up was enough to make him dizzy, yet he still firmly placed each step on the tree trunk covered with moss and vines. Every time he held onto a small branch, he had to test its stability to avoid slipping. Sweat poured down his back, soaking his shirt, his hands sometimes shaking from having to keep his balance when the wind blew through the treetops. The branches swayed slightly under the weight of his body, and bees began to hover around his face, but he did not flinch. In his hands, the bundle of leaves was still smoldering, sending smoke into the air like a temporary shield. The space was so quiet that all he could hear was the rustling of the leaves and his own heavy breathing. Sweat was dripping down his forehead, but his eyes did not leave the honeycomb. As he approached, streams of golden honey began to drip down, filling the area with a fragrant aroma. Bar gently cut each block of beeswax, skillfully throwing it to the ground. With each pass of the knife, the honey flowed out like a waterfall, causing everyone who witnessed it to be amazed. Mr. Bar gently cut each block of beeswax, skillfully throwing it to the ground. Each slice of his knife was not only decisive but also calculated. He chose the parts of the hive that were most swollen and had the highest honey gloss to cut first, because that was where the most honey accumulated. Every time the knife blade slid through the wax, a small sound rang out like the cracking of sugarcane. Then the golden honey poured out, thick as syrup, sticking to his hands and his shirt. While working, he had to continuously wave his hand to chase away the swarms of bees still hovering around the hive. At one point, a bee as big as a finger buzzed in front of him. intending to land on his cheek. But because the thick layer of smoke had not yet dissipated, it just hovered around and flew away. Mr. Bar carefully maintained his stance on the largest branch, while using the small cloth bag he carried to collect the pieces of beeswax that were especially rich in honey. When the bag was heavy, he moved on to trimming the parts of the hive that had lost honey, but still had pupae, a specialty sought after by many gourmets. His hands were now covered with honey, sometimes stopping to quickly wipe them on his shirt, then continuing his work like an artist carving a work of nature. Each block of wax was gently dropped by Bar onto the ground, where a white cloth was available to support it, avoiding dirt. Under the sunlight filtering through the tree canopy, the honey shimmered like gold, sparkling and charming. When some blocks of wax were cut, you could still hear the sound of honey boiling gently, the sweet sound bestowed by the old forest. Despite being stung by a few bees, Bar still persevered in his work until he had collected more than 6 liters of pure honey and a large portion of fatty bee larvae. It was a worthy reward for his courage and patience. After the arduous journey, he returned to his small farm where there were cute kittens and a growing cornfield. Bar's story is not only a journey to conquer a giant beehive, but also a lesson in courage, perseverance and love for nature. Through each small action, from not harming bees, to using biological measures in agriculture, Bar has shown how to live in harmony with nature, respecting and preserving what nature has to offer. Thank you for following until the end of the story. If you love Bar's journey and want to continue to accompany him in the next interesting stories, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Each of your support is a great motivation for us to continue telling wonderful things from wild nature and simple life. See you in the next video.